Hey. So, yeah, as you're saying, I've been in Cloud Foundry for just a little over 4 years now. We've rewritten a whole bunch of components during that time. I counted recently, we're on our 5th cloud controller by my count. I can tell you that none of those rewrites had a presentation anything like Ansi's earlier today, so that was the most awesome presentation. If Diego is anything like as good as his Prezzo, it's just going to be wild, man. I love it. So that was great work. And you know, and suggestions for making the conference better, if you could just put Ansi last at all conferences from here on, that would make my life easier for sure. So these guys before me, the Bank of New York guys set me up pretty nicely. I'm going to talk about hybrid clouds and Cloud Foundry. It's work we've been doing at VMware for a little while. I'm going to show you a little bit of this stuff live. If someone would sacrifice a chicken to the demo gods for me, I'd really appreciate it. We'll see if things actually work. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's happening with enterprise IT and just kind of set a little bit of context first. So, you know, obviously we're seeing huge demands for agility, right? There's various unfriendly players disrupting industries in all kinds of different places, right? I stuck a few up on the screen here, but there's one in basically every vertical and probably more, right? And so we're seeing this demand for agility, but at the same time we also see the need to retain, you know, what I'm broadly calling governance, right? So we've seen issues around security with Target. We saw the best marketed exploit of all time, Heartbleed. It even has a logo, so pretty awesome. But we also see things like regulatory issues, right? This is the SEC's logo. And also financial control, right? The bean counters always want to make sure they're in charge. So we see this tension a lot in enterprise IT in particular, a tension between demands for agility and for retaining governance at the same time. And that's a tension that we see across the board, not just in PaaS, but with many, many different areas of technology. And so VMware has been, you know, obviously dealing with this in our customer base for some time. We started out virtualizing compute, and we now also virtualize storage and networks. And so, and that's basically trying to make the core infrastructure as agile as possible, and then applying that in a number of different contexts, right? So applying that and using that technology in private clouds and people's own data centers. In public clouds, we have various partners, and in fact, we're also running our own infrastructure as a service now, the vCloud hybrid service. So we put on top of those a set of management tools, and those tools, the idea of the hybrid cloud is that you can use the same tools whether in your own premises or in the public cloud, and that's essentially what the major value proposition of hybrid cloud is, right? The major value proposition, use the same things in different places. And of course, we want to make this applicable to multiple different types of application, right? So you've probably heard of the software-defined data center. That's essentially what we're talking about when we talk about this. So the question is, what's the role of Cloud Foundry in all of this? Well, basically, for us, we want to make sure that Cloud Foundry is available in all these different places too, right? And so we've worked with Pivotal for the last year. I talked about it at the platform conference this time last year to bring Pivotal CF to vSphere and to vCloud. And so I'm just going to show you. This is a deployment of Pivotal CF on vCloud hybrid service is what it looks like broadly. So we deploy it into a private network, expose it through a couple of public IPs and so on. And so I'm just going to show you that it's real. We GA'd this product about 3 weeks ago. And so obviously VMware and Pivotal work together. So this is the Pivotal CF Ops Manager. So this is what an administrator who's deploying Cloud Foundry would see. And so if they were doing it on VCHS, they'd click on this tile and then configure various things in here. So this is, for example, configuring the infrastructure as a service API URL and credentials and so on to log in. And then you go ahead and deploy Cloud Foundry, deploy the Elastic Runtime as it's called in here. And so I went ahead and just clicked in here and picked up the status. It takes a little while to pick up the status, but these are all the deployed VMs in this particular deployment of Pivotal CF, right, of the Elastic Runtime. So that's just a very quick example. And now the end user, the developer who's using Pivotal CF, sees a console like this, a developer console like this. So this developer is, and let me make that go away. This developer is in the CF Summit org, and there's a couple of spaces and different things like that. And so, you know, and I've deployed a couple of applications in there. Okay, so just to show you that it's real, that was Pivotal CF running on the vCloud hybrid service. Now, So what are we trying to do when we build these hybrid clouds? What are the use cases we're focusing on? What are the things that we want to do? Well, here's a whole bunch, right? And I'm not going to belabor the point here. There's a whole bunch of different kinds of things we want to be able to do. We want to be able to deploy applications in public clouds or on-prem, depending on if dev, test, or production, regulatory controls, different things like that. We want to be able to use it for DR. We want to be able to, for example, deploy the classic hybrid workload, which is mobile apps, right? Part of it sitting in the public cloud and part of the data sitting in a private cloud.